Hi, welcome back to our channel. In this video, I want to talk about the importance of operationalization in pricing. Now, I often say that the only two important things in a pricing project is alignment and operationalization. It's funny enough because I have written a book on pricing strategy, yet I don't think the actual strategy is the most important thing to make successful. It is, are we aligned on solving the right problem, and are we actually going to be able to implement the strategy? So let's talk about the implementation. Can we operationalize the strategy? This is a multi-layered cake, and in the common parlance, no plan survives first contact with the enemy. That is perfectly valid for SaaS pricing as well. There is no enemy, but this plan is not going to survive first contact. Why? If you're working on pricing strategy, chances are that you are in an online sales business or a SaaS or an enterprise sales business. Regardless of the case, you have to implement this in your systems, you have to implement this with your people, and you have to implement pricing strategy with your finance team, and you have to make sure that you have a strategy to think about what are you going to do with your existing customers, right? 4 key things: your tech stack, sales, your customers, as well as finance. So let's start with tech stack. If you are changing packages, if you are changing features, you have to have an ability to change your pricing model, and then when the new customers come in and buy your new package, they have to get the new features that you've allocated to their plans. Therefore, you need a feature flag system that automatically takes in the new package input and provisions this new product to that customer. So therefore, you have to have a feature flag software. Number 2, if you are changing a usage-based metric, let's say number of seats, and number of seats is moving to some other consumption metric, you have to meter and instrument that in your tech stack. By the way, the tech stack also includes things like CPQ and billing systems. If you were on per user pricing before, now you have a billing system, billing in a usage-based manner and sending invoices. There's engineering work involved. So that's number 1, that's the tech stack. Number 2, I want to talk about the human element. So if you have a sales team, they are going to be wanting a lot of training on a new pricing model. There has to be a revision of how the discounting rule books are written. What are they allowed to do? What are they not allowed to do? Who is going to give them approval for certain policies? Again, if you're going to make a big change like moving from user-based to usage-based pricing, their sales compensation will be affected. You have to have a plan around that. So even if they don't understand something, they're going to fall back to their old ways, and they're still going to sell a deal on an old price book. Do you really want to have that happen? It happens more often than you think. Discounting discipline goes out the door right at the end of the quarter. So you have to make sure that the strategy is combined with the right enforcement and the right people in place who are going to make sure that the sales team will adhere to this plan and that they will be happy because their livelihood is on the line. All right, number 3, customers. So many times, let's say you're a smaller SaaS company, you're around 20-30 million ARR, you're going to have more new business customers, and you'll have to think about what to do with existing customers. You may grandfather them in, or you may have like incremental price improvements. Regardless, you need to make a plan for that with your customer success team. If you have a larger company, let's say 200 million ARR company, generally in companies like this, 2/3 of your new ARR comes from expansion revenue. So whatever new pricing you're created better be designed primarily from the standpoint of existing customers. Now, what does that mean? You may need 2 different strategies. You may need 2 different price books. Whatever you're creating needs to have an ability for you to have an expansion motion and increase your net retention rate, right? So you have to have a clear idea of how are these existing customers going to expand with this new pricing strategy? Is there going to be resistance or not? Because especially as you're growing in size, the biggest impact of your pricing strategy is on your existing customers, not new customers, which is a very common blind spot. And then number 4, financials, right? You're changing a lot in your pricing strategy. If now cash is coming more later down the road, that has a consequential impact on your company. If the margins are changing, that has a consequential impact. If you're moving from more of a subscription model to a usage model, that is a huge impact, because now you're moving from ARR to the recurring part of ARR goes away, and you just have expected revenue, you have expected net retention rates. So financial analysis now has to change. So therefore, all of these things have to now change once you are making a pricing strategy decision. So that is why you may spend 2 to 3 months making a pricing strategy change. You may spend a year making sure that it is really landing in your organization. And that is what consultants do not readily tell you, because they leave after the consulting work is done. But this is the real work to make sure a big change is actually implemented in your organization. Thank you.